Hey, 3, 2, 1. Hi guys, and welcome back to Nail on Sunday. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Rebecca.
Don't say it. Don't. No.
Hey, baby.
Actually makes my insides go oh.
This is a new thing. So,
No, it's not anything.
podcast,
No.
I'm just going to say, hey, baby.
No, please don't.
Okay, why not?
Because we have the same conversation every time.
Still not got my ring resized. Sorry.
Yeah, because he obviously cares so much.
I'm sorry.
If it was the other way around, I will have you guys know he would be very, very upset. So.
Do you know what I'm just going to do? I'm just going to eat sausage rolls, and then it will fit for a week, maybe.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back with the podcast. Thanks so much for all your comments on the last podcast. We really appreciate it. And this week we're going to talk about what it takes and what's
involved.
What's involved in starting a gel brand.
Hang on, I need to take my shoes off to get comfortable. I didn't do it already.
Side note, guys, my shoes are off. But
I think we're going to get slippers. And what we'll do is when we stand outside the door, we'll take our shoes off and then we'll have slippers in here.
Very Japanese, that thing.
I was going to say that too.
So the reason I actually have my shoes off is because they're covered in mud, because we have a million potholes outside, and it's got to the stage where the council won't do anything, the local businesses won't do anything. So I've just got 3 metric tons of type 1 aggregate delivered.
I feel like you've lost them already.
And I'm just basically filling potholes. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm out there with the forklift, a shovel, and yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Great.
So, Rebecca, you want to get it started? We started a gel brand. Essentially, we started in 2020, in case you guys don't know. But realistically, if we want to talk about gels, I want to list it as gel polish.
Any sort of liquid. Gel liquid. Okay, so liquid primer.
Okay, so realistically, we've been selling gels for about a year. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yes.
We started probably the creation of that about 2 years before it, just going with some of the time hops on my phone.
Around then, yes. So quite a long time before it.
All right, so do you want to just start us through why we chose to do it and how we get started?
Well, I think let's start a little bit before that in terms of when you are creating a gel brand, when you decide to have a gel brand, you have 2 different routes that you can go down. You can go down the private label, off the shelf, put your label on it route. A lot easier, a lot faster. Or you can go down the custom route if you are wanting to create something that is unique in the market, has certain USPs that other products don't, something that's just unique to you. That's the route you're going to go down. And that is the route that we took. Now, do not get me wrong. There were many times during, and I can remember genuinely saying it and thinking it. There were so many times that we thought, I wish we'd just gone down the private label off the shelf. So private label is literally a factory. They already make the products and you just put it in, you just put your brand on it. That is it.
Basically just sticking labels to the bottle.
Essentially, it's as simple as that. I mean, you can ask for specific type of bottles, et cetera, but that's pretty much, it's not hard.
That's a cheaper option, just to be clear.
It's definitely cheaper, but it's also, more importantly, so much faster. And actually, time is money, so ultimately, even cheaper again. If we had done that, oh my goodness, we'd have been able to have something to market within probably 3 months. I'd have said 3 months.
Yeah, I think 3 months is probably fair.
Fair, not 2 years. So yeah, we definitely did it the hard way, but I'm really glad that we did because we wanted everything to be just right. To us, it felt like there was no point in coming. The market is already saturated. There are so many gel brands, and there was no point in us coming out with something that everybody else had already done, and we wanted ours to be as different as it could be.
Would you say that in today's economy, today's market, today's like people being hyper aware of what's in their gel brands, do you think it's safe to say that being a white label bottle, you will not make it as a brand as such? You will make it. You'll only really make it on Amazon.
No, I don't necessarily think that's fair. I feel like we could have been a pretty good go of it as long as we were like hyper aware of what was in it, what was in the products, had testing done and things like that ourselves to verify the ingredients. I think you can still make something private label really appealing visually, aesthetically, but ultimately you're still not going to be selling something which tens or hundreds of other people don't already sell. So if you are wanting to go down the route where you are wanting to create something that is unique, then there is no other way to do it than to do it yourself. And what that takes is finding gel manufacturers, going to different gel manufacturers in different countries, sampling their base formula is the best place to start because then you are aware of their capabilities as a factory when you can see what they are already producing. So test what they have, see if you like it, and then from there, make your changes. We set out with very clear instructions. I think that's really, really important. Clear instructions, clear vision. Really important to do when you are setting out to do, especially when you're trying to create a brand. You need to have a vision. You can't just go, I just want to create a brand. Okay, what's the purpose of it? What do you want your brand's ethos to be? What do you want it to be about? What do you want to sell? What's going to be so special about your things? So we knew that we wanted our products to be made in the UK or EU, not because we think there was anything wrong with products made in China, and we have some products made in China, but just because we knew that that is what the audience was demanding. So disclaimer, all of our gel polishes, builder gels, hard gel, are made in either the UK or the EU. And we knew that it had to be HEMA-free. Again, we have spoken so many times about this in various platforms. HEMA is not the devil. It should not be demonized. If you have a HEMA allergy, you shouldn't use HEMA. But the same way, if you don't have a nut allergy, you don't need to avoid nuts. It's along the same lines. But we knew, again, that is what the audience was demanding. And the fact that we'd been in the industry for so long ourselves with our own salon, we knew what nail techs wanted. We knew what annoyed nail techs because I was a nail tech myself. So we also knew that along with the fact that it had to be made in the UK or EU, that along with the fact that it had to be HEMA-free, it had to simply work. It had to be really well pigmented and it had to be easy to use. There's no point in coming out with a product that is, it only works if you do X, Y, Z. Do you know what I mean? Like, usability was really, really important for us. So when we set out, we knew we had that in mind and we would go from there. So if we found a factory that had a formula, we really liked something about it. I've talked about this again before. The factory that we nearly went with, actually we found some of their samples quite recently. We're like, God, that was a really, really good product. But it had like 0.1% of a chemical in it that I didn't want, and they couldn't remove it because it was in a raw material for something else. So we didn't go with them because I was just very, very particular about what I could and could not have in the gels.
See, I think that's one thing that we have to be clear. Do you understand what the chemicals are within the products? And that was a sticking point for you. You were very firm on it.
Yeah, regardless of how good that product was and how heartbreaking it is to walk away from that knowing that that is an excellent, excellent product.
But also, if that company hadn't published that on their SDS, just left it out because it was such a small amount.
0.1%. Mm-hmm.
You would have been none the wiser, to be fair.
No. If I hadn't done my due diligence. Due diligence is incredibly important when you are creating a brand, and we'll come on to more things in terms of compliance later, but it's very, very difficult. There are so many things that you need to verify that it can be really, really easy to overlook things if you aren't paying really close attention.
So, well, again, we're going to talk about compliance, and please don't switch off, guys. We know compliance is relatively boring, but we're going to make it as fun as possible. We're going to play some games.
This is very, very interesting. If you're a nail tech using nail products on people, chemicals on people, if it were me, I would have been very, very interested to know about compliance, because it's surprising how many cosmetic products are non-compliant.
Just in your daily life, especially.
And you think, oh my God, well, why are they not doing that? And again, there is no guidebook to creating a cosmetic brand, but there are certain things that you can help you. And I am going to be reading off the government website. And how exciting is that?
Oh, wow.
I know.
You're just so sexy, baby.
Oh.
Right, okay. So, starting with the base formula. What are the things you're looking for? Let's talk gel polish to begin with.
What am I looking for? What was I looking for personally? Obviously, we've just talked about the ingredients, really, really important to us. Pigmentation and adhesion. Those are the things that my key points that I had to hit.
You wanted a swipe one coat.
As close as possible. Or at least it just had great coverage. It wasn't pastels that you have to put. That was something that really annoyed us as a salon. Having to put white underneath neons or white underneath pastels. Irritating. Or ones that you'd have to do 5 coats and you're still like, oh my God, look at this. It still doesn't look great. We didn't want that.
I also hate the false economy with certain items where you have a big bottle and it looks good value, but you have to use 2 or 3 coats. It's like paint when you go to B&Q.
Well, 3 or 4 coats more the point rather than 2 or 3.
You go and it says 1 coat, but you know deep down you're going to have to use 3 coats. So you know that's a lie. It could be done in one coat if
you
you
want it to look patchy.
poured it on, and that's just the case. I mean, paint and gel polish, they're very similar.
In their job.
Yeah, for the main thing, like for
Decoration.
me, a simpleton, for me, they are relatively straightforward. But that is like a false economy. So that having that really, really strong pigmentation, that was super important, right?
Really important. But it wasn't only, well, I guess you said let's talk about the base formula first. So yeah, those were the points. The ingredients, the performance, and the performance came down to two things. It comes down to pigmentation and it comes down to adhesion.
What other kind of like staples did you really want into it?
So apart from the formula, if you move away from like the 30-second cure thing, that was just purely by accident. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we'll have our 30-second cure forever, because I would like to try and move all production to the UK for really logistical purposes, if it is going to be possible for us. But I wouldn't do that if the product had to change from, the only change that I would allow would be the 30-second cure to 60-second cure, because I don't think that really impacts anybody that seriously. Most people are probably even forgetting that it's 30-second cure and still doing it in the 60 seconds. So that's the only thing that I would allow to change. In all other ways, it would have to remain the same in terms of the adhesion, the pigmentation, etc. But for us, it was an entire experience. Again, it's taking us back to things that really annoyed us as nail techs when we had the salon. And one of those major things that we looked at was the design of the bottle. So I have a bottle in my hand for anybody listening, and anybody who is watching on camera, you can see I have a bottle in my hand. So this is a bottle of our Angel, and this is in a new colour, which will be being released in the next couple of weeks, in our slightly different formula. And what we wanted is something that was unique, but still relatively classy. So that's when we came up with the drips. We came up with the drips pretty early on.
That was one of the first things we came up with.
One of the first things we came up with, and how we were going to do it. We talked a lot about that. And we were back and forth with the rest of the design part, but we knew we wanted this. So this took a really, really long time. Getting the mold made for that and back and forth, that did take a really long time for the lid. We knew that we wanted to be able to see the colour from any angle that you looked at it, because it really annoyed us as nail techs having to pick up the bottle to either look on the lid at a sticker or look at a sticker on the base of the bottle. So that was something we wanted to be able to create, something where on the shelves it would just be this beautiful vision, and it would be very, very obvious to the nail tech and the client if they were just looking, oh, that's an interesting colour, you know? It makes it a bit of an interactive experience for customers. So that was really, really important to us, that the colour could be seen from all angles, which it definitely can with our drip design. Then we wanted to, again, displaying. It was all very much about displaying them, because we had in our salon it was kind of the focal point of the room, wasn't it?
As soon as you walked in, yeah.
As soon as you walked in, it was this big display of the bottles. So we thought about it from a nail tech's point of view. Now, we decided, we went back and forth whether to have the name on just one side or both sides. We went with one side because then we thought if they were a more understated salon, they wanted a very, very clean aesthetic, they could display the bottles from the side that has no print on it, and then it would be completely plain. If they wanted to have the names in clear view, so it was really easy for them to grab a name, which was in big letters, not a tiny sticker underneath, then they could have it displayed on the side. But they could also have it displayed from the front as well if you wanted to be able to see that uniformity with all the logos. So we really thought about a lot of things when it came to that. Every little detail when it comes to nail order has been thought of. And if you're new to nail order, you might not know we love multi-use products and we love innovative products. Certainly where we can offer something which maybe somebody else hasn't thought of. So there are a lot of little aspects that go into the gel.
I would say the bottle is one of our biggest downfalls.
Yes, it is, because it takes so long, because so the glass bottle and lid are made in China. And to get this colour on top matched as exact as possible, we have to send away all of our swatches. So when we have, say, created a new colour, we've decided on the formula, we will then swatch that and send it to China. And then they have to make colours to go on these lids. That whole process takes a long time. And then, of course, every single bottle is unique and individual to an exact colour, where other brands maybe will have just tens or hundreds of thousands of one bottle and lid made at once. And they can put any product in that, and then they can put a different sticker on the back or a different sticker on the top to show what colour it is. We do not have that. We have over 200 now different individual bottles, which are made for each specific colour, which definitely holds us back massively.
Also, it's not a sticker.
It's not a sticker. It's not. We don't have any stickers, although this new batch of Angel, because I've been playing with the formula with the chemist. I've been going backwards and forwards, making changes. We had decided on the colours before we had to finalise the formula. And to try and get this out as speedily as possible, we decided to go ahead and have all the bottles made, but printed blank on the back so that we could just put a sticker with the ingredients.
We'll come back to that. It's
We
more
will come back to that.
stuff.
That is more compliance stuff, so we will come back to that.
But that's not why I said it's the downfall.
Okay.
Because I would say, on face value, that bottle looks quite gimmicky. So what I mean by that is, and by gimmicky, I mean, look at all the nuances. You've got the drip. You can see it from far away. You can do all the. You can see the name on the side. We've put so much thought into that one bottle. I think people might think, oh, well, the product must be rubbish because they've put too much thought into that.
Do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I do.
Oh, I would never, ever think that. Ever. They're beautiful and they're perfect and I love it.
So, also, it's a black bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that we went back and forth with, and we understood that it's going to be polarising. A lot of people just won't have black on their shelves.
We were going to go for pink for a lot. We should actually release like images of what we were going to go for.
Oh, if you guys would like to see that, head over to Chris and Becca TikTok.
Good idea. We'll put that up. We were going to go for pink. Because we had our X-Base product at the time, which was like a sort of universal tip adhesive rubber-based type product. And they were, well, actually, the very, very first idea was that every bottle was going to be the colour of the gel that was inside.
God.
That is exactly what we did with our X-Base bottles. I mean, let's be honest, it wouldn't be any more hard than what we're doing now. It wouldn't be any more hard.
No.
No, it wouldn't. But we thought, it's just not a uniform look on a shelf, is it? All the colours like mixed up and stuff like that. So then we went to pink, right? We'll do them all pink. We really thought, oh, that's something unique. But then it's like, does everybody want pink? No. So then we landed on black. And obviously black is a predominant colour. It is nail order's main colour. And yeah, Chris is right. Some people are like, would you ever do them in white? And I'm like, there are brands out there that have really unattractive bottles with really fantastic products inside, and I really don't think the look of the bottles should make you use a product or stop you using a product. It's nice if they look nice, and we created something that we would like to see ourselves, but ultimately it's really what's inside that counts, isn't it?
It really is, and
With,
this is
with
the sticking
products
point.
and with people. So if you haven't used it because you like a white aesthetic, then I would say stop being so shallow and move outside your comfort zone.
The thing is, we did create it in such a way where even if you don't like white, you can actually have it on our shelves, which we had made to fit other brands, but also specifically these bottles on their side. So the only thing you would see really is the drip of the actual cap.
Yeah, so they can be angled at an angle where it's just the very, very top that you can see on the shelves. And we have white shelves and stuff as well, but I think
But imagine creating something beautiful, but then having to think people won't like it.
Yeah, well, it's life, isn't it?
Such is life.
We can't all like the same thing.
We take a lot away from that. Okay, so we've done the product in terms of the base formula and what we need within it and the ethos of what we're trying to create. And then we've got the bottles, which for us was a sticking point. For a lot of other people, it's super easy. It's just off the shelf.
It was something it's every little detail, every single thing.
But we've always kind of been like that, even since the start. Cuticles, I always think about.
Do you remember the original stand? Oh my
course.
God, I've just thought about the original stand and I was obsessed with this.
It was terrible. It was a good idea, but it was terrible.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh God, I would love to see one of them. If anybody has a very original...
No one will have it. They will have broken by now.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the formula. One of the main things that we wanted is to be free of the main allergens. And what are they?
So here at Nail Order, we consider the 4 main allergens in nail products to be HEMA, DiHEMA, HPMA and IBOA.
And those are the most toxic, essentially.
Not the most toxic, but the most common allergens, so the things that people most commonly react to.
Okay. Is there more than just those 4?
Oh, I mean, any acrylate is an allergen. Most things that you're going to be using in these products, they are allergens. Somebody somewhere is going to be allergic to them. They are chemicals at the end of the day. And people are allergic to the sun. People are allergic to everything. But how reactive or how frequently people react is what we're talking about.
So, describe for me what a gel polish looks like when it has these acrylates and when it doesn't have these acrylates. Can you tell the difference?
No,
You can't tell the difference.
no.
So why would you have the allergens?
When you said, can you tell a difference? I think you were meaning like in appearance.
And
But
use.
there might be adhesive differences. That is
Right, okay.
that's
what I was getting
a
at.
thing.
So when you're using it as a nail
I mean, it
tech,
shouldn't be so much of a thing with a gel polish. It really shouldn't. So why do people still use them in gel polishes? I don't really know. I can't answer for another brand.
is that because it's still off the shelf, or
I don't know. Again, can't answer for another brand. But I think our gel polish proves that they don't need to be used in gel polishes to have a fantastic quality, highly pigmented gel polish. You absolutely do not need them to be in it.
should nail techs be thinking about that when they're choosing a brand or when choosing a gel polish? In terms of what's the kind of main staples that you should be thinking about as a nail tech?
My main thing these days, for me personally, I would be looking at the morals and ethics of a brand.
Versus the product? Or do you think starting with the morals and ethics?
Yeah, I think starting with the morals and the ethics, because you might find a brand that has a product which is absolutely fantastic, but the brand themselves they're not good people. They don't have good intentions, and they only care about making money. Yes, at the end of the day, we are all businesses, and that is the purpose, is to make money. That is why you have a business, so that you can support yourself.
I don't know. I think you come just to play with your friends.
I'm a little bit weird like that. Yes, I never do anything for financial gain. I do it for personal success. Does that make sense?
Say the right words.
What?
You do it to win.
I do it to win.
There you go. She admitted it on the pod, guys. She
It's
does
not.
it
No,
to be the
it's
best.
about a sensation of personal success. But I can. This is something we should talk about on an entire separate episode. But I can see from the outside that it might be like, oh, look, she's really driven by money. Never have been. Never will be. It's not me. It is by personal success and being number one. It's not about winning. It's about being number one in my own eyes, I guess. We got off topic there. What the hell were we talking about?
Bring it back round. So if you were starting out, or you say you're a nail tech,
Yeah,
what
would I be looking for? I would be, these days, looking for a brand that has good ethics and morals because if you have a problem with your product, which, let's be honest, if you are a beginner nail tech or if you're just new to a brand, you are more than likely going to have some sort of teething issues. You need to know that that brand has your back and that they are going to support you. But moreover, if there is a problem with a product, so imagine something went wrong with a batch or something, you'd want to know that that brand is going to be honest with you as well and be like, guys, there is a problem with this. We're holding our hands up. Give us it back. We're going to make this. We're going to make this better. So yeah, it's great having fantastic products, but not one product is going to work for everybody, and people need support. So if the brand doesn't have good morals or ethics, they're not going to give you support, and they're not going to be responsive. You need a brand that is responsive. And I think these days there is so much choice in terms of brands that people can be that more picky. Back in the day, there was hardly any brands. You didn't have the luxury of considering morals and ethics to be one of your priorities when picking a brand. It just wasn't a thing. There was so much distance between you as the consumer or the customer and the brand. But now brands they're a lot more personable, and you're seeing the person behind or the people behind the brand. So people do have the luxury of being able to make a decision based on that.
How can you judge that?
Very good question, and very, very hard to do. But lurk.
L-U-R-K.
Lurk in the background. When you are thinking about using a brand, whether you're a new nail tech, you're thinking about rebranding, you just want to try something new, whatever it is, lurk in the background. Lurk in their community forums. Lurk in the comments of their Instagram and their TikTok. See if these brands are friendly in their responses. Are they responding at all? Are they offering help? Are they blaming the nail tech? Are they doing everything visibly that they can to help that person? That's probably the first step that I would take. Then you're going to have a look at the brand on a sort of wider basis. Are they offering a plethora of free education? Are they obviously offering support on those social channels in terms of education, information, tutorials, etc. I like, for me, a brand that is free with information. You don't have to go digging around for SDS. And I think that the majority of brands are now really forthcoming with that information, which I think is fantastic. And honestly, I think that is something that should be mandated, that cosmetic companies have their SDS available on their website, freely available, and you shouldn't have to ask for them. I think it is a nonsense that you have to ask for them.
Any brand, I think. Actually.
Any brand for any cosmetic in this day and age where something is being applied to somebody's body and so many people have lots and lots of allergies, it should be freely available.
The thing is, it doesn't make a difference if you're Selena Gomez with a $1 billion brand.
It doesn't matter.
Nail order. If you're putting something on your face, your hands, your nails, or something like that,
onto someone's body,
realistically, you should know what's in that product.
Absolutely, you should. So why brands hide that information has always been really strange to me.
Shifty.
Especially here at Nail Order, we are now trying to do everything we can to make things so easy for our customers where they have to contact us for so little, unless they specifically need help with like something with retention or something's gone wrong with the product or whatever it is. But we want them to be able to be self-sufficient. And just from a business point of view, this day and age, I cannot imagine if you didn't have your SDS available on your website, you must be receiving emails or messages on social media several times a day for people asking for this information. At what point do you go, oh my God, this is taking up so much staff time, like admin-wise, just put it on the website?
The thing is, so do you think they respond to all these emails, or do you think, nah, just if it's not freely available, why would you just issue it out, case by case, email by email?
Pretty sure you're legally required to do so.
Oh, God, no, I don't have time for that.
Well, then you don't have time to run a cosmetic brand.
I'm filling bottles.
Then you do not have time to run a cosmetic brand. As somebody who is a responsible party, as again we'll come on to that in terms of compliance, you have a responsibility to be responsive to people, because we are dealing with the human body.
So you've done the lurking, you've zoomed out, you've seen a bit of everything. Say, for instance, you like a brand, but there's I don't know, some sort of negativity you feel. What's the best way to do it? Should you just go trial it or what?
Well, what I mean, it depends what the negativity is.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a...
If you like what you see, try it, because that's the next step. Try it. See if you get along with it. If you have problems, contact the brand. Don't just write it off, because if you've never tried that brand before, the likelihood is, and I hate to say this, is not me blaming nail techs, but every product needs to be used slightly differently. But the likelihood is, because you're new to that product, you're not doing something quite right. So you might just need a little help. Contact the brand, reach out to them, see how responsive they are and how willing they are to give you help. If they're really willing to give you help, amazing, fantastic. This, all good signs. Give it another chance. Don't just write it off.
What if one of the second points is something simple, like the colour of the bottle?
I just think that's absolutely crazy to me. Like, just crazy. Like, let's not be all style, no substance, because looks fade. Looks don't last forever. Do you know what I mean? Fashions change. So again, it's about what is inside that counts.
Let's talk about eyebrows real quick.
Are you joking? Are you joking? I was about to say...
I'm just going to say, kids, if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening here, right, I don't have my wedding ring on, but I do know my wife inside out.
I swear on Daki and Bailey's lives
Dogs.
that I was about to say, how many times have my eyebrows changed through our relationship? Oh my God, I cannot believe you just said that.
Okay, so explain it.
So yeah, fashions change, and you should never do anything for fashion. So some of you might not know that I've been doing microblading for a decade, and I'm about to finish doing it. I cannot wait. But I have on so many occasions had a client come to me and said, showed me a picture. And now, number one, I never do anything to copy off a picture, because that ain't your face shape. That ain't what we're working with. But so many times I have said, I'm not doing that, because that is a fashion. And that won't be in fashion in 2 years' time. But what will be in fashion is natural. Natural will always be in fashion. Doing what suits, the natural structure of your face. I have a client I can remember, and she wouldn't mind me saying this. She came to me years and years ago for the first time. And what was in fashion at the time was, I think it was out of Korea, the straight eyebrow the straight eyebrow fashion where there was straight, there was no arch, whatsoever, just straight. And she came to me for the first time and I said, no, I'm not willing to do that. Here is what I'm willing to do. Drew it on her face. And I explained to her why fashions change. You'll come to me in a year's time. And that's going to be on your face pretty much forever, at least some of the ink. And you won't be happy. So I showed her what I was willing to do. She went ahead with it. She then came to me another couple of times. And then there was a period of 2 or 3 years where she didn't come. It was over COVID. And then she came back to me last year and she said, you were right. First thing she said when I walked through the door, you were right.
And Rebecca said, of course I am.
And I said, do you mean about the shape? And she said, yes. And I said, see? So yeah, how does...
Hang on.
So what does that have to do with what a bottle looks like? Number one, your brand could change the appearance of their bottle at any time. So choosing to go with a brand because of the appearance of their bottle, silly. The appearance of the bottle has nothing to do with the price of cheese, as we like to say, when it comes to how good that product is. Also, you might like it today, but even if they don't change it, fashions have changed, and in 3 years' time, you no longer like the way it looks, and you're not that impressed with the product inside, but you like the way the bottle looked 3 years ago. Don't even concern yourself with what a product looks like on the outside. Even though ours look really pretty, but don't concern yourself with that.
Okay, so say for instance you like the brand, you like the bottle, you like the shape and everything else, but you're having issues.
As I said, reach out, see how responsive they are, see how much help they are willing to give you, and give them a chance and listen to the advice that they are giving you and implement it.
But I mean, owning the brand for such a long time, we have come across different problems with different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say a lot of nail techs don't want to change the way they've done things.
But
they're very stuck in their way.
If you're wanting to change brand, then unfortunately, it's not up to you. I'm trying to think of another scenario where it would apply.
All of a sudden, you become plant-based, and you want to, I don't know, bake a cookie cake or something.
Yeah,
you have to change.
You're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to change the ingredients. You're gonna have to change the way you do it.
What if it doesn't rise? What if it doesn't?
It's not a perfect analogy, but I mean, it's up there. But yeah, if you want to try a different product, you decided, as an example, I want to go with a brand that has less allergens in it. You might have to change what you've been doing because a lot of the allergens are the products that have very good adhesive properties. And there are products out there that will stick to a nail without any prep whatsoever. But that is not what should be the case. So, yeah, you need to be flexible. Learning new skills, you know? It's like, I guess it's kind of like you learnt to drive a car, but now you want to ride a motorbike. You're going to have to, it's not going to be the same thing. There's things you're going to have to be aware of that are completely different.
True facts. I did that. So,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking how you told me about, and I'm not specifically talking about the actual action of the motorbike. Obviously, it's very different to driving a car. But when Chris was learning to drive a motorbike, he would tell me about like the things that he learned, and I'm talking about like road safety and how he had to think about different things that he'd never thought about as a car driver before.
It's definitely maybe a better car driver. And the reason I tell Rebecca these things is because I want to share it, make sure she is the best driver she can possibly be.
Oh, really? Yeah. Chris is the most awful passenger. I point blank refuse to drive the car if he is the passenger. It is absolute hell on earth. He thinks he's the best driver in the world. Chris, how many points have you had in your life on your license?
Hang on just 1 second. Just let me think of it.
How many?
Anyway, move on.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's get back to us.
Let's get back to it.
Back to me, right? So we have created this amazing job, which I think is amazing. If you've not tried it, you should maybe try it. What happens after that?
What happens after that? Well, there's more to the bottle than just making it look pretty. That's the first step. Now we've got to fill up the bottle, the surface space of the bottle with the legalities.
Okay.
So we can talk about compliance.
Right. People might think this is boring, but trust me, this is actually
the interesting part, in my opinion. There is a lot of things that go into being compliant as a cosmetic brand. We're not just talking about gels here, we're talking about all cosmetics. And again, there is no handbook that somebody hands you when you decide to become a gel brand owner. Here you go, these are all the things you must do. There are not anything like that. A lot of people also think that, you know, if you are a gel brand, you have to... There's a lot of things that people assume that are incorrect and a lot of things that people don't think about that are correct. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So like one of the things people always think about is that as a gel brand, you have to go and get all of your formulas tested. Nope. No, you do not. The factory, they do, but you as the individual, no, you do not. So if you are the person selling the product, you are what is called the responsible person.
Here comes government website stuff.
Here it comes. So the responsible person has to make sure the products that they are selling are safe, and there is also other obligations that go along with that. So I'm going to read you those obligations. So they need to know which ingredients are used in the cosmetic product, including those which are harmful or nanomaterials. Know about what restrictions can be put in cosmetic products. Keep an up-to-date document with information on the cosmetic product called the PIF, which is a product information file. Make any information on the packaging, labeling, and instructions for the cosmetic product clearly visible. Let the OPSS, which is Office for Product Safety and Standards, know about the cosmetic product. So that is when we list it on our we call it cosmetic portal. We always call it. Tell the OPSS about any harmful any serious harmful effects which were reported about the product, and be able to prove any claims made when marketing the product are correct. So if we claimed that this product could make you fly, we would need to be able to prove that, as an example.
Only Red Bull can make you do that.
So making cosmetics products safe for users covers things like it can't be mistaken for food, it has to have clear labeling, have instructions for use and disposal, etc., etc. So the responsible person can be the manufacturer, the importer, distributor, whatever. So we are, as the brand, we are selling this under our brand, and some products we import. So we are the responsible person. If you have a look on our SDS, you will find all that details as well. There'll be a telephone number where you can call in emergencies, which I think is your mobile number.
Thanks for broadcasting that to millions.
So not only that, then there are the other compliance issues, which are equally maybe more important, arguably maybe more important.
I think, so again, there's no handbook. If it were me, the best way I would assess this, and I think this is something we did to begin with, is lurk.
Oh, lurking. Lurking is excellent.
We got every other brand's gel polish bottles.
Well, not every.
Almost every. I felt like it. We're constantly buying other people's
selection.
Constantly buying other people's brands, other gel polish.
Well, we had a lot of stock left over from our own salon, which is where actually the majority of products came from.
So that gave us like a baseline for where we should start.
Mm-hmm.
But we really had a really good
turn.
We'll come on to in a second.
We will. So let's go through the labeling of cosmetic products. So labeling for cosmetic products must be easy to read. There is actually a size that there must be. And this bottle here, for anybody who cannot see in the podcast, I'm holding up my bottle. It looks completely normal from the front. It's got our Angel logo. It's got the name on the side, but on the back it is completely blank.
Non-compliant. Hang on, wait a minute. Do I have a... 1 second. Do I have a... No.
That would be it. So, the reason being is actually to make it compliant. So when we would, like I said earlier, we were doing this formula. Where did I say this earlier? That we didn't know what the...
You didn't know what the final formula was.
Didn't know what the final formula was going to be, but I knew what the colours were. So we got them printed blank on the back so that we could sticker them with the absolute correct ingredients. So we will have to stick them ourselves, which is not ideal. But anyway, so the container and packaging must be labelled with, this is for cosmetic products, the name and the address of the responsible person. So if you have a look at our bottles...
Stand by. Chris is on the move, everybody.
Merci beaucoup. Okay, so name and address of responsible person. If you look at the bottom, just before the bottom of our bottles, you will say that our address, our company number, and the company name. The brand is a responsible person. So the country of origin, if the product is imported to the UK, even if our products are made in the UK, we have made in the UK put in it. Of course, we're proud of that, so we want to put it on. So you will see on the back of all of our products where they are made, as that is a legal requirement. The weight or the volume, very, very interesting. So on the front of our gels, you will see, depending on which gel you're using, so this one in front of me is 15 grams. You might see an E beside that, and you might not see an E. That depends on the filling method used by the actual factory and how they fill their products, what system they use for that. We went with grams because gel is so viscous. We felt that it was a better way to measure. It was a more accurate way of measuring the product. Then you've got the date which the cosmetic product can be used until. So some products might be date specific, like they will go out of date. For instance, fresh cosmetic products, they might have a specific use by date, but ours are not fresh. So you will see, for instance, here on an Ultima Gel, it says 24 months in a little jar. So once you open that, you need to use that within 24 months. Angel, I believe, is 12 months off the top of my head. Any precautions for use? So what I've got in front of me is warning. So there's a warning sign, and that's what we're talking about, precautions for use. So avoid contact with skin and eyes, discontinue use if irritation, etc., etc. Identification number. This is very important. So if you look at the bottom of our bottles, you will see an identification number, which is a lot number. This might be stamped on, this might be on as a sticker, but it's very important. And the reason it is so important is it helps us trace back if a problem happens with any particular batch. It could be a number of things. It could be a color discrepancy. It could be, an adhesion. It could be anything. It helps us trace it back. And it helps us to be able to contact people and say, do you have this lot number? If so, please listen to this message.
Also, moreover, if someone contacts us, that's one of the first things we ask for, so that we can keep it in our records. So that if there is a second problem, a third problem,
correct,
we can see the pattern.
So if people contact us with like an allergy thing, we'll often take the batch number. We can write that down. And then if we are taking everybody's and we see a pattern, then we can act on it. That's not something that we have to do, but it's something that we think is diligent and important. So back to the list, what the cosmetic product does. So we have got how to use it. So that's saying what it does. On the front, for instance, it'll say build a gel, and then on the back, it'll tell you how to use it. And the ingredients is the final thing. These can be provided solely on the packaging. Note that nanomaterial ingredients must be followed by the word nano. In some cases, the usage date and the weight or volume may not be required. For example, where the contents are less than 5 grams or 5 mils, this may apply to free samples and single packs. So if it's a really, really small product, they don't have to put the weight on it. So yes, those are the main things.
Do you want to talk about the difference between mils and grams?
A mil is not a gram. It's a common misconception. 1 mil of water is 1 gram of water, but gel is but liquids all work differently. So if you take water as the baseline and then look at a whole load of different things, the viscosity is different, and the viscosity affects the volumetric size, so the size, how much space it takes up, as well as the weight. So your mil is really how much space it takes up. Yeah. So if you imagine that you were pouring it into a measuring jug, how much space is it taking up in the measuring jug? But your gram is how much it weighs. Very different things. And if you imagine a bag full of feathers and a bag full of cement,
if they both weigh
they can both take up the same amount of space, but they both weigh very different.
Or vice versa, they can both weigh a ton. They take up very different space.
Correct, exactly. So both can be the same. Both, same but different.
So let me just put it into context. We sell 2 different things, and I just want to just make this clear. So we sell 15 mil of primer, and we sell 15 grams of gel polish. Mm-hmm. They're both in the same size of bottle, mm-hmm. but they're both very different weights. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Not
very different.
In terms of
but they are different. They are different. So the difference can be small, but there's still a difference. So we just feel it's a more accurate way of measuring gel.
And the reason we came to that conclusion...
That's where you were leading, and I forgot about this. Okay, so we had a very serendipitous moment. We have lots of serendipitous moments in our lives.
I would call them luck. Rebecca calls them...
I call it serendipity.
Okay.
Or kismet. So it was the day that we were... Literally the day that we were signing off our bottles for the print files... for them to be made. And we also, on this day, had our trading standards audit. So when the trading standards people come in, and not every business gets a trading standards audit.
Just to put it in the context, the only reason he knew we were here in our industrial estate, it was at a different
We're
place.
so glad he came in, just to say that, though.
He was across the street at the whiskey place who had invited him because it's their due diligence to do so.
Yeah, because of alcohol and stuff. They and customs, they have a lot of rules and things.
So he happened just to see us.
And he was like, oh,
he just walked in one day and said,
yeah.
hi. And I'm like,
what do you do here?
Yes.
But I'm so glad that he did. So when trading standards come in, they want to see everything. So they want to see your PIF, your product information files. They want you to walk through everything. They want to have a look at all your products, your labeling. He'll ask a whole. So those questions that that list I just went through about the requirements for packaging for cosmetic products, he went through every single point, and I had to point it out on our packaging. But it wasn't the weight. It wasn't the weight that I asked.
It was two things. Weight we discussed because of.
But the main point was, I said to him, when it comes to a product, country of origin, being listed on the bottle, is it okay to just put made in the EU? Obviously, it takes up less space than putting a country or whatever, and that's how I've seen.
If it was Luxembourg.
And that's how I've seen, or Switzerland, that's how I've seen most things denoted on cosmetic products. So I said to him, just checking, because it was just a little question mark. I don't even know why it was a question mark in my brain.
It's probably because you were going.
Do you know what? I actually think I was reading that thing.
Yeah.
I think I actually was. And then I'd gone like deep diving onto it. I said, just want to check that's fine. He said, no. He said, you have to specify the country that's come from, because made in the EU is far too vague and far too broad a term. You must specify the country to be fully compliant. And
Rebecca was like, no. Because think about it. Our first gel polish was over 100,000 bottles for the first delivery. That was 100,000 bottles. It was almost going to be printed incorrectly.
It was more than 100,000 because I got extra bottles made.
I'm just at 100,000.
But so yes, that was I was very, very glad of that. And I was very glad we passed with flying colours. Everything was excellent.
But
he was impressed, I think.
Yeah, I think don't be, if it ever happens to you, don't be scared of it. Embrace it, because he's there to tell you if you're doing something wrong, this is how you're going to rectify it.
These people are actually here to help. And a lot of times, myself included, if it's environmental health, if it's trading standards, I get really nervous and really scared. And I know I've done everything correct, but I still get really, really nervous.
Except that lady who comes to...
God, don't, please. For the licence, I know.
For your tattoo licence. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Rebecca's stomach is in knots for weeks before it.
Because she always finds something that I haven't, I've done it, but it's just not right there. And every single time I go, how many licenses have I applied for? So many now. Every single time I'm like, this is the one. This is the one. Every single thing on her list is going to be ace, and I'm going to be her model student. And she's like, and where's this? And I'm like, no.
I'll counteract that. My dad had ice cream vans growing up. I've probably spoke about this before somewhere. And they used to have environmental health checks every single year to make sure everything was, tickety-boo in ice cream vans, to make sure you weren't going to get salmonella. And you imagine my dad, having done this for 20, 30, 40 years, would know every single inside and out. He said it didn't make a difference. So what he used to do is make one thing abundantly wrong.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So that as soon as they walked
in...
Because
they're looking for something.
Yeah, they're looking for something.
Yeah.
So
you need to give them something.
So he would make sure everything else was right, but he would make one thing really apparently wrong, something simple and quick to rectify on the spot. And it would always be, someone would come in and they might even have a new start or whatever, and you could see them being super happy. Oh, we've got him. We know what is wrong. And they would turn around and be like, yeah, this is needing rectified. And my dad like, oh, no problem. Let me just switch this round. And it would pass with flying colours. But I think that's what it is. They're looking for that one thing just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
and I do think deep down, I'll be honest, ice cream vans, they would be disgusting if it wasn't for environmental health checks.
Exactly. They are there. They're there to protect the public.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it can be annoying. It can be scary, but ultimately they are there to help. So.
All right. So we're nearly into an hour for this one. So, yeah. I mean, is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap this up? Okay, so let me ask you, right, so we've been through this whole process and everything else, and it came to launch day. What were you expecting on launch day?
Fireworks.
And what happened?
You've got that sound there?
Oh, which one? Oh,
no.
Oh, hang on.
Nope.
God, hang on, the soundboard. No. Nothing. Oh, just...
Okay, that'll do. Okay, no, it wasn't crickets, but we were...
Sorry.
Can you please stop it? We were expecting everyone to go mad, and I think everybody kind of expects that when they've got a project which has consumed so much of their life.
Time, money.
And all of their money. But it wasn't, and it was going to be a slow burn. I think, in retrospect, we're like, yeah, that was silly and naive to assume that everyone's going to jump on and absolutely love it. Of course, it's going to take time. yeah, these type of products always does.
So I would say for the first few weeks afterwards, we were very deflated. And I don't think the staff...
Not very
I
deflated.
was certainly very deflated. But I want to just point out some time things that happened after that. We launched it at the start of October. And I would say that come Black Friday, we did a really good Black Friday. It was a strong Black Friday. Far exceeded everyone's expectations, I think. We went into the new year and we started to kind of build a good kind of reputation for things that were happening. I remember we were on Shan's podcast, and I think we recorded that maybe early March. And she asked us how things were going. We're quite honest with her. I think we actually had a good, open and frank conversation with us. And she was quite surprised because she said on face value it came across as the brand was being super successful.
Yeah, she was hearing really great things.
And then there was a news report just before Easter. Do you remember?
Wait, Easter was the other thing, wasn't it? Oh wait, no, there was two things back to back. About allergies and things like that. Yes, and that really...
So I would say at that point in time there was a big newspaper story or stories on TV and stuff about allergies, and I would suggest that that's when people all of a sudden wanted a brand that had less allergens in it. So a lot of people were looking to rebrand.
Yeah.
And then we had our Easter sale.
Yes, we
And
did.
dear God, as much as we thought we had prepared, oh my word.
Yeah, Easter was... I was really, really scared at one point that we were never going to be able to get over it.
As in, we would never get all the orders out.
We would never, ever, like, even today, we would still be doing the orders. Like, yeah, there was a time where I was like, oh my God. And we were in there... I was in there packing for 10 days back to back straight.
Yeah.
And I don't work in the warehouse, so, yeah.
I thought at one point, like, you could see people physically cracking. I can remember, like, Katie, like, she like looked like a different person. But we had an amazing product that we were happy to send out to people. The feedback we got from Easter has been wonderful. It's been a wild ride since Easter. I'd say our company's completely changed since then. So my main kind of thought to that point is, if you try something and it doesn't quite succeed, or it doesn't, kick off with the way you think it's going to, just stick at it.
Stick at it. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Was it not?
And then some things take time.
Okay, so now that we know where we're at just now, would you say you're happy?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, yes, stressed, but happy.
We have got better at managing the company. We have more staff in place who can do the job better with more hours in the day. And I'm saying that we're actually here late after work one day recording this pod because we've got other stuff to do this week. Our kids are in nursery.
By kids, we say the dogs.
The dogs are in nursery, which we're going to have to wrap this up and get on with. So let me ask you one final thought. What would you change?
Nothing.
Would you not just go like straight back and go for white label and just
No.
do a nice bottle?
Absolutely not. No.
God, that's arrogant.
No, that's not arrogant.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I do often think about the bottles and is there a way to make this situation much easier? But I don't think there is. So, no, I don't think I would change anything. I don't believe in regret. So, yeah.
There's no point in regretting things. You've just got to learn from it and crack on.
Exactly. And your experiences make you the person you are today. Same like our experiences as a brand make us the brand that we are today. So we're going to make mistakes. We've made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But those mistakes help you learn, help you grow. So, yeah.
I think constantly evolving is always a good thing. Now, I know customers sometimes don't like evolution. They don't like products
no, they
changing.
Do not. They do not at all.
Staff don't like it. We were talking to Stacey earlier on. Stacey is this warehouse supervisor. We're talking about getting extra or just more staff.
Yeah.
And the problem with Stacey is she doesn't like change that much. She doesn't want new staff because she's comfortable with what it's got. But we can't survive as a company without more staff. You know? Change
is a good thing sometimes.
Definitely. Okay, so let's go for this week's feature. I don't know what it is, honey. We've got to do some sort of feature. Oh, I learned something today. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do, I learned a super interesting fact, and that way...
Can I do my... Is it Iceland one or is it Finland?
Just 1 second. Let me tell the feature to the people at home. We do a super interesting fact every week, something we've learned that just blows your mind, and this will remain with you for the rest of the week, and you can talk to your clients about it.
Oh, yes.
This is like a good feature. We don't know what it's going to go called yet. It could be Blow Your Mind. No.
I'm not sure.
Sunday Fact Day. Read all about it. No.
Right, this is really going on really long.
So, tell me about your interesting fact.
Okay, I can't remember what country is Iceland.
I don't know what your interesting fact is, honey.
Yes, you do. Let me just fact check myself.
I had one this morning. I can't remember what it is. I actually said that's a really good one.
I can't find it. I'm sure it's Iceland.
Okay.
I think it is. That every male's surname. Okay,
It's Iceland, right?
It's Iceland, right? Okay, so Chris here is Harry's son. Yes. So Chris's surname in Iceland would be Harry's son. Harry's son.
Chris Harrison.
Chris Harrison. I am Phil's daughter. So I would be Rebecca Phil's daughter.
Daughter is usually spelled
Daughter.
Dottr. We actually have some customers, and if I butcher that, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We have some Icelandic customers.
I think it is absolutely mind-blowing. So your surname is your dad's first name, followed by either son or daughter, depending on if you are male or female. Yeah. And it's the first name that carries the weight of importance.
Which is unbelievable.
I think it's mad.
So think about it. If you're sitting at home and you're somebody Donaldson...
You're Donald's son.
You're probably not, but there's a good chance one of your ancestors.
Yeah.
Donald's son.
Yeah.
We have that in Scotland. That's a big thing, right? Not so much in England.
Apparently, but I don't know, like Ferguson,
Donald's son.
We don't have the daughter though.
We don't.
Don't have that at all.
We had a customer from the Faroe Islands the other day there, and their name, I'm going to butcher it. It was like Bjorn's daughter, Bjorgensen. It was like, yeah.
That doesn't sound like a real name, but
yeah. So we're worldwide.
I just think that is such an interesting fact, like the daughter and the son. I love it. I really like facts like that.
That is an excellent fact. I did have one this morning that I listened to in a podcast, and I was like, wow, that's really, really surprising. Cannot remember what it was.
I've got one, but it's really morbid.
Oh, go on. People like true crime stuff, so.
I told you this one before. The leading cause of death in pregnant women?
No.
Is murder. I told you this.
No, go on.
The leading cause of death in pregnant women is murder.
How so?
Because more frequently, they die from being murdered than from anything else. They don't die from a condition during pregnancy or anything like that. They die by being murdered.
Is this statistically across the world? Because I imagine in third world countries that might be.
Yeah, no, I think it's across the world because that's the most dangerous time because of like domestic violence and things like that.
Wow.
Maybe a bit too morbid to put into the podcast, but still a very interesting fact.
If it made it to the cut, we're here. Okay, guys, thank you very much for listening to Nail on Sunday this week. I have been your amazing host, Chris.
Oh, have you been amazing? You've been amazing.
I think I've been good this week. I think I've been good. I've not played too many.
No, you did. Now you found it. Now you found it. You played way too many.
All right, okay. If you like the sound effects, all I would appreciate is or drop down and give us 5 stars. Or if you're watching YouTube, please comment. We just want to know what you guys think of the video. And we're actually going to have to, I just remembered we're going to have to record something for the main channel for this one when we get out of here. Just remind me in a second, okay?
Okay.
So again, thanks so much for watching, guys. Get us out of here.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, or YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to be notified when we release our next episode.
Bye, guys.